All right, beginner investors, buckle up. Today we are diving deep into the wild world of Netflix,
Netflix.
a company that went from mailing DVDs in those little red envelopes to becoming the streaming behemoth we know and love.
Or sometimes left to hate.
Right. It's a total roller coaster ride,
It is.
full of risky bets, near-death experiences, and a whole lot of drama.
It's a masterclass in entrepreneurial resilience for sure.
So rewind back to the late 90s.
Okay.
The internet was still kind of dial-up-y, and DVDs were just starting to become a thing.
Yeah.
Netflix's founders, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, had this crazy idea.
What if?
What if people could rent DVDs online and get them delivered straight to their mailbox?
It seems so obvious now, but it was a pretty crazy idea at the time. Amazon was already doing this with books.
Yeah.
So they were kind of inspired by that.
Oh, so they were inspired by Amazon?
Yeah, they were looking at Amazon and, wow, this online retail thing is really taking off.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do the same thing with another product. But DVDs. Most people hadn't even seen one in person.
Right.
Talk about a leap of faith.
It's like betting on a horse nobody's even heard of yet.
Exactly.
But you know what they say? Fortune favors the bold.
Sometimes.
Yes.
In this case, it almost didn't.
What do you mean?
Well, remember Blockbuster?
Oh, yeah, of course.
The giant of video rentals back then?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Netflix actually tried to sell themselves to Blockbuster.
What? Yeah.
For a measly $50 million?
Wait, hold up. They tried to sell to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
That's like the Rebel Alliance offering to join the dark side.
I know, right?
Right.
What happened? Blockbuster basically laughed them out of the room.
Oh, no.
They thought Netflix was a joke.
Wow.
Nobody would ever want to rent movies online, right?
The irony.
Oh, the irony.
Talk about a missed opportunity.
I know, right? Blockbuster could have been the king of streaming, but they totally blew it.
Yeah, they could have been like the Netflix of today.
I know. It's crazy to think about. It's a classic tale of a giant corporation failing to see the writing on the wall. You know, they were so stuck in their old ways that they just couldn't fathom how this new technology was going to change everything.
That's a tale as old as time.
It really is.
So Blockbuster fumbles the ball, but Netflix still has a long way to go.
Right.
DVDs are cool and all that. But how did they actually convince people to rent them online?
Well, this is where they really started to get clever.
Okay.
They introduced this thing called the subscription model.
The subscription model.
Yeah, you pay a flat monthly fee, and you can rent as many DVDs as you want.
Interesting.
No more late fees, no more due dates.
That's amazing.
It was a revolutionary concept at the time.
Yeah, because I remember those late fees at Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah, they got you every time.
So basically, they took away all the annoying parts of renting movies.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
It was a really smart move.
But even with this genius subscription model, weren't they still at the mercy of the U.S. Postal Service?
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about a logistical nightmare.
It was a huge challenge for them.
Yeah.
But they somehow managed to make it work.
How?
They built this sophisticated distribution network that could get those little red envelopes to people's doorsteps surprisingly quickly.
And this is all before Amazon Prime and two-day shipping was even a thing.
Exactly.
So they were ahead of their time.
Netflix was basically pioneering the whole online retail and delivery game.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, they were way ahead of the curve.
But then, in a move that would define their future, they made an even bolder decision.
What was that?
They started investing in streaming.
Streaming.
Yeah.
Remember, this is back when internet speeds were
Terrible.
less than ideal.
Yeah.
But they saw the potential.
They saw the future.
Yeah.
So they're mailing out DVDs, but at the same time, they're already thinking about the next big thing.
They were playing the long game.
That's some serious foresight.
Yeah, it was a gamble for sure. I mean, streaming technology was still in its early stages, and there were a lot of doubts about whether it would ever really catch on.
So it was a huge risk.
Huge risk.
But they took the plunge anyway.
They did.
And we all know how that turned out.
We do indeed.
They were pioneers.
Once again.
And this early investment in streaming would ultimately pave the way for their global domination.
It was a pivotal moment in their history.
But it wasn't just about embracing new technology.
Right.
They also knew they needed killer content to keep people hooked.
Content is king.
And that's when they started producing their own original shows and movies.
This was another game changer.
Yeah, because before that, they were just a distributor of other people's content.
Right.
But now they were becoming a content creator themselves.
Heck,
And they weren't messing around.
No, they were not.
They poured money into creating these high-quality shows.
Like what?
Like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black.
Oh, yeah, those were huge hits.
And they weren't just hits.
Right.
They were cultural phenomena.
Yeah, they really captured the zeitgeist.
They redefined what television could be and attracted millions of new subscribers to Netflix.
It was a brilliant strategy.
It was a bold move, producing their own content.
It was risky.
It's like they said, screw it, we're going to Hollywood.
And they did it their way.
They disrupted the traditional studio system
Yeah.
and shook up the entire entertainment industry.
They weren't afraid to shake things up.
But of course, no success story is without its share of scandals and drama.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, did Netflix have some juicy ones.
They've had their fair share of controversies, that's for sure.
From controversial content to password-sharing crackdowns to internal protests.
They've weathered some storms.
We'll dive into those scandals in a bit.
Okay.
But first, I'm curious, how did they manage to survive the dot-com crash?
That's a great question.
Wasn't that a near-death experience for a lot of tech companies?
It was a turbulent time for sure.
Yeah.
And Netflix was not immune to the chaos.
So how did they make it through?
Well, their aggressive growth strategy, while successful in attracting subscribers, also meant that they were burning through cash at an alarming rate.
So they were growing fast,
Yeah.
but also spending like crazy.
Yeah, basically.
Not exactly a recipe for financial stability.
Not at all.
So when the dot-com bubble burst, what happened?
Well, investor confidence plummeted.
Yeah.
And Netflix's stock price tanked.
Oh, no.
They were on the brink of collapse.
So how did they pull themselves back from the edge?
They had to make some tough choices.
Like what?
They laid off a significant portion of their workforce.
Oh, wow.
They streamlined their operations, and they refocused on their core business,
Which was?
DVD rentals.
So it was like a reset.
It was a painful but necessary restructuring.
Kind of like hitting the reset button and going back to basics.
Exactly.
And it worked.
It did.
It managed to weather the storm.
Yeah.
And emerged from the dot-com crash as a leaner, more efficient company.
A phoenix rising from the ashes.
Okay, so they survived the dot-com crash, but they were still facing off against Blockbuster, who finally decided to take them seriously.
Right.
What happened?
Well, Blockbuster tried to mimic Netflix's online model.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they even launched their own streaming service. But by then, it was too little too late. Netflix had already built a loyal subscriber base and a really strong brand.
They had a head start, and they weren't letting go.
Nope.
So what happened to Blockbuster?
Well, Blockbuster ultimately filed for bankruptcy in 2010.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder that even industry giants can fall if they fail to adapt to changing market conditions.
It's a cautionary tale.
It really is.
For any business, really.
Right.
But for Netflix, it was a moment of vindication.
Definitely.
They had proven their doubters wrong and emerged as the dominant force in home entertainment.
They were the kings of the hill.
It's a testament to their entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely.
And their ability to execute their vision.
They had a clear vision, and they were relentless in pursuing it.
But their journey wasn't over yet. They were about to embark on an even more ambitious and transformative chapter.
Oh.
Original content.
Netflix originals.
That's where they really cemented their status as a Hollywood powerhouse.
It's an incredible story.
But before we dive into that, let's take a quick look at their financial performance.
Okay.
After all, this is a deep dive for beginner investors.
Right.
So give us the highlights. What should our beginner investors pay attention to?
Well, for starters, their stock price has seen some pretty dramatic swings.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Back in the early 2010s, it was trading below $100 per share.
Okay.
By 2015, it had surpassed $100.
Wow.
And in 2018, it exceeded $400.
That's a serious climb.
And then the stock reached a peak of over $690 in November 2021.
Wow.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing.
I'm guessing now.
In 2022, their stock dropped to around $200 per share.
Oh, wow. What happened?
Well, there was some market volatility,
Yeah.
increased competition, and it was kind of a reality check for investors who had maybe gotten a little too comfortable with Netflix's seemingly unstoppable growth.
So what about right now?
As of November 2024.
Yeah, how are they doing?
They've rebounded quite impressively.
Oh.
Their stock is trading at approximately $756 per share.
Hold on. That's even higher than their peak in 2021.
Exactly. They're not far from their all-time high of $773, which they hit just last month on October 21st, 2024.
Okay, so they're back on top.
They are.
But what's driving this success?
Well, it's definitely a combination of factors.
Like what?
Original content is a major factor,
Okay.
but they've also made some savvy business decisions,
Give me an example.
like addressing password sharing.
Ah, yes, the crackdown on shared accounts.
Yeah.
Remember that uproar? People were up in arms.
It wasn't the most popular move,
Yeah.
but from a business perspective, it makes sense.
Right.
They're also being strategic with pricing,
Okay.
adjusting their subscription fees in key markets.
To reflect the value of their service. So they're not afraid to make tough calls, even if it means ruffling some feathers.
They're not afraid to make the tough decisions.
But let's be real. The heart of Netflix's success lies in their original content.
Agreed.
It's what truly sets them apart from the competition.
It's what makes them Netflix.
Their move into original content was a bold and risky move,
It was.
but it ultimately paid off in a huge way.
It transformed them from a DVD rental service into a global entertainment powerhouse.
And with that, Fist, I think it's time to dive deeper into the world of Netflix originals.
Okay.
We'll explore how they built their content empire, the impact they've had on Hollywood,
Right.
and the challenges they face in this ever-evolving entertainment landscape.
Sounds good.
All right, beginner investors, welcome back to our Netflix saga.
Round 2.
We left off with Netflix making a daring move into original content. They went from simply delivering movies
Right.
to actually making them.
Yeah, it was a huge shakeup for Hollywood.
Like they walked onto the red carpet wearing ripped jeans and a t-shirt.
While everyone else was in tuxedos and ball gowns.
And totally disrupted the scene.
They weren't playing by the old rules.
And it wasn't just about appearances.
Yeah.
They completely bypassed that established system of how movies and shows get made and distributed.
The old studio system.
Can you imagine the reactions in those fancy Hollywood boardrooms?
Oh, I could only imagine.
Like what?
Like gasps, like clutching their pearls.
Especially when Netflix started releasing their movies online.
Right.
Sometimes even the same day they hit theaters.
That was unheard of at the time.
Remember that whole Cannes Film Festival fiasco?
Oh, yeah.
They banned Netflix films from the competition because they didn't follow that traditional theatrical release model.
They were like, you can't sit with us.
It was a major clash of old Hollywood versus new Hollywood.
Old guard versus the disruptors.
And Netflix was like, we're doing things differently, and it's working.
They were proving that there was another way.
They definitely weren't afraid to break the rules and make their own.
Nope, they were trailblazers.
And let's face it, they've changed how we watch TV and movies forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Binge-watching entire seasons in one go.
Yep.
That's all thanks to Netflix.
They made it the norm.
They basically gave us the power to choose how and when we consume entertainment.
And on our own terms.
And traditional studios had to scramble to catch up.
Yeah, they were playing catch-up for a while.
So let's get back to their secret sauce.
Okay.
How do they actually come up with these hit shows and movies?
Well, they're incredibly data-driven.
Oh, data.
Yeah, they use these sophisticated algorithms to analyze what people are watching, when they're watching it, and what keeps them hooked.
So they're basically spying on our viewing habits.
Well, not spying exactly.
To figure out what we want.
In a way, yeah, but it's all anonymized and used to make better content.
Right.
They're not just randomly throwing ideas at the wall.
Right.
They're using data to inform their decisions.
So it's like a scientific approach to entertainment.
It's data-driven entertainment.
But data can't be the only ingredient.
No, of course not.
You still need creative minds.
Absolutely.
To turn that data into actual shows and movies.
Right, and that's where they've been really smart.
How so?
They attract top-tier talent.
Like actors and directors?
Yeah, both in front of and behind the camera.
Okay.
And they give them a lot of creative freedom.
So they're not micromanaging every little detail.
Not at all.
That's interesting.
They trust their creators to tell compelling stories, and that trust has resulted in some seriously amazing content.
From gritty crime dramas like Narcos to hilarious comedies like The Good Place to documentaries that have sparked national conversations.
Just like Making a Murderer.
Yeah, they've got something for everyone.
They really do.
And they're constantly experimenting.
With different genres and formats.
Always pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
They're not afraid to take risks.
But creating great content is only half the battle, right?
Right.
They also have to get people to actually watch it.
Marketing is key.
And they're masters of marketing.
Oh, yeah, they're really good at it.
They know how to create buzz and get people talking about their shows.
Word of mouth is everything.
They're brilliant at using social media, personalized recommendations, and targeted advertising to reach their audience.
They know how to reach the right people.
I swear, every time I open Instagram, there's a new ad for a Netflix show I have to watch.
They're everywhere.
So they're really good at making their shows feel like must-see events.
FOMO is real.
And it's not just about traditional marketing.
Right.
They're also innovative in how they interact with viewers.
Yeah, they're really good at building community.
They're creating a sense of community and excitement around their content.
It's like a fandom.
Yeah.
They're really playing the long game.
Building a loyal fan base that keeps coming back for more.
Exactly.
But let's not forget about the elephants in the room.
Oh, yeah.
The scandals
And controversy
that have dogged Netflix over the years.
They've had their fair share of bumps in the road.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit.
All right.
What are some of the big controversies they've had to navigate?
Well, the Dave Chappelle controversy is a big one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
His stand-up specials sparked outrage.
For his jokes about transgender people.
Right. And Netflix faced employee protests and public backlash.
Yeah, it was a really tough situation for them.
Yeah, it was a no-win situation.
So how did they respond?
Initially, they defended Chappelle's specials,
Okay.
arguing that they value artistic expression.
Right.
But they also faced internal pressure.
To do something.
Yeah, and they ultimately introduced content warnings for sensitive material.
It sounds like they were walking a tightrope.
They were trying to appease both sides of the debate.
Which is never easy.
A tough spot to be in.
So it highlights the complexities of operating a global platform.
With such a diverse audience.
What might be considered acceptable in one culture
Could be deeply offensive in another.
It's a reminder that even with their massive success, they're not immune to making mistakes.
Nobody's perfect.
Or facing public scrutiny.
That comes with the territory.
And they've also had to address concerns about employee relations and their unique workplace culture.
Their famous freedom and responsibility model.
The one that's been both praised and criticized.
That's the one.
So tell me about it.
Well, it's based on the idea that by giving employees a ton of autonomy and trust, you foster innovation and high performance.
That makes sense.
But it can also be a double-edged sword.
How so?
Well, it requires a high level of trust, clear expectations, and constant communication.
And not everyone thrives in that kind of environment.
Right. Some people need more structure and guidance.
So there have been instances where employees have felt overwhelmed by the lack of structure.
Yeah, or felt pressure to constantly perform.
It seems like a culture that can be both incredibly empowering and incredibly demanding.
It definitely is.
And Netflix has had to make adjustments over time.
They've been evolving their model as they've grown.
Finding the right balance between freedom and responsibility.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process.
It's a reminder that even with a groundbreaking model, you have to be willing to adapt and evolve.
That's the key to survival.
All right, beginner investors, welcome back to the final act of our Netflix deep dive.
The grand finale.
We've seen how they took on Blockbuster, conquered the world of streaming, and built a content empire.
That rivals Hollywood itself.
But the story doesn't end there.
It's just getting started.
What's exciting about Netflix is they're not content to just sit back and count their Emmys.
They're not resting on their laurels.
So what's on the horizon for them? Are they going to launch their own rocket into space? Start a cryptocurrency?
Well, they haven't announced any plans to colonize Mars just yet.
Okay.
But they are laser focused on a few key areas that are going to shape their future.
Okay, lay it on me. What's got them fired up?
First off, they're on a mission to conquer the globe. Yeah, they're investing heavily in producing localized content for different regions.
Like what?
Like Bollywood-style blockbusters in India, K-dramas that are sweeping across Asia.
It's like they're creating a United Nations of entertainment.
Exactly. They're recognizing that global audiences have diverse tastes, and they're tailoring their content to match.
It's a brilliant strategy.
It is.
Why try to force everyone to watch the same thing?
Right.
When you can offer a smorgasbord of options that cater to different cultures and preferences.
Exactly. Give the people what they want.
And they're not just churning out content.
No.
They're innovating with how they deliver it.
Like how?
They launched a gaming division.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Offering mobile games to subscribers.
Interesting.
Blurring the lines between streaming and interactive entertainment.
So it's not just passive watching anymore.
So now I can watch Stranger Things A&D battle Demogorgons on my phone.
It's all part of their strategy to become this one-stop shop for entertainment.
Like a Netflix ecosystem?
Yeah, a place where you can watch, play, and immerse yourself in their world.
They're really pushing the boundaries of what it means to be an entertainment company.
They're not afraid to experiment.
What else is up their sleeve?
Well, they're experimenting with interactive storytelling.
Interactive storytelling.
Yeah, giving viewers the ability to choose their own adventure, so to speak.
What, like Black Mirror Bandersnatch?
Yeah, kind of like that. Imagine watching a show where you can decide what the characters do next.
Ooh, that's next level.
It is.
It's like those choose-your-own-adventure books we loved as kids.
Right.
But on steroids.
Exactly. It's a whole new way to engage viewers.
Yeah.
And make them feel like they're part of the story.
I'm officially mind-blown.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But what about the metaverse? Is Netflix jumping on that bandwagon?
They're definitely dipping their toes into those virtual waters.
Okay.
It's still early days for the metaverse.
Right.
But they're exploring ways to create immersive experiences
Okay.
that complement their content.
Like what?
Imagine attending a virtual concert of your favorite band from a Netflix show.
Whoa.
Or exploring the set of a movie.
That sounds incredible.
It's like stepping into your favorite shows and movies.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
So Netflix is going global.
Mm-hmm.
They're blurring the lines between streaming and gaming.
Yep.
They're experimenting with interactive storytelling.
Uh-huh.
And they're exploring the metaverse.
It's an exciting time to be a Netflix fan.
They're not afraid to embrace the future of entertainment.
They're definitely not playing it safe.
But with all this innovation and expansion, do you ever worry that they're losing sight of what made them successful in the first place?
Like what?
Their focus on creating amazing content.
That's a great question, and it's one that investors should always be asking.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that their commitment to quality content remains their North Star.
Okay.
You know, all these new ventures, from gaming to interactive storytelling, are ultimately designed to enhance and complement their core offering.
So it's not a case of either or.
Right.
It's about building a more immersive and engaging entertainment ecosystem.
That's a great way to put it. And as they venture into these uncharted territories,
Yeah.
they're bringing the same data-driven approach and creative freedom that have fueled their success so far.
Okay, so they're pushing the boundaries, but they're not abandoning their core values.
Nope, they're staying true to their roots.
So as we wrap up our Netflix deep dive, I want to zoom out a bit
Okay.
and talk about the bigger picture.
Right.
What are the key takeaways?
Yeah.
The lessons we can learn from their journey?
Well, first off, their story is a masterclass in disruption.
Disruption.
Yeah. They didn't just adapt to change, they actively sought it out and shaped it to their advantage.
To be the disruptor, not the disrupted.
Exactly. They challenged the status quo, broke the rules,
Yeah.
created a whole new playbook for the entertainment industry.
They're basically the rebels who stormed the Death Star and blew it up.
I love that analogy.
And they didn't stop there. They've consistently embraced innovation, never resting on their laurels.
Always pushing forward.
Always experimenting with new technologies and formats.
They're not afraid to try new things.
It's like they have a built-in radar for what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not afraid to take risks and make bold moves.
They're calculated risk takers.
They've also demonstrated the power of customer obsession.
Customer obsession.
Yeah, from their early days of mailing DVDs to their current streaming empire.
Right.
They've always been laser-focused on understanding what their viewers want.
And delivering an exceptional experience.
They're not just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
They're strategic.
They're using data insights and a deep understanding of their audience to guide their decisions.
They know their audience.
And finally, they've shown us the power of building a strong culture.
Their freedom and responsibility model.
Which, yeah, has had its challenges.
Of course.
But has fostered a work environment where creativity and innovation thrive.
It's a unique culture.
It's a reminder that culture can be a company's secret weapon.
Yeah, a differentiator that sets them apart from the competition.
It's not just about perks and ping pong tables.
It's about creating a culture where people feel empowered, trusted.
And inspired to do their best work.
Exactly.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of Netflix.
It's been a wild ride.
From humble beginnings to global domination, they've shown us what's possible.
When you have a vision and the determination to see it through,
They've combined vision, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of excellence.
they're a force to be reckoned with.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
remember the lessons we've learned from Netflix.
Take notes.
Embrace disruption.
Yeah.
Be relentlessly curious.
Mm-hmm.
Obsess over your customers.
Absolutely.
And build a culture that fuels creativity and innovation.
Those are the keys to success.
And most importantly, never underestimate the power of a good story.
Because in the end, that's what Netflix is all about.
Telling stories that captivate, entertain, and inspire us.
And they're pretty good at it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.